So the final stage on the open highway here as we now head towards Mount Wellington. Without doubt, Phil, this is the most difficult stage of the race.
It certainly will be. Starting in Bellarive, just outside of Hobart, we have a 155-kilometre stage which takes us to finish up there on Mount Wellington. It's going to be a beautiful scenic route, but I don't know if these boys will be looking at the view so much.
Well, if Stephen Hodge can hold on to his lead today, then he knows that tomorrow on the circuit race down in Salamanca Place in Hobart, he'll run out the winner of the Tour. Across the beautiful Tasman Bridge, and then they'll make a left and they'll be heading out towards Kingston, and then they're going to feel the pressures of the day. A very tough road.
Downtown Hobart here. Not sure if there are many races actually begun down here.
Well, it's good to see the return of the Tour of Tasmania after a couple of years off the big-time international racing calendar. The riders have put on a great show. Difficult descent this, coming down into Kingston, and the riders who have visions of a high finish tomorrow are going to have to stay at or near the front of this big peloton. Long, thin line.
Yes, you'd hate to lose that lead on the last day or second last day just because you're too far back.
Well, I'm at the back of the string on the descent there. There has been a crash, and that's the bicycle of Paul O'Neill from Western Australia. Paul does look quite seriously injured here, but the ambulance is up very, very quickly, so he's in the best of hands, and let's hope he's okay.
At 46 kilometres, it's Jürgen Paffrath, the German, who attacks.
Well, the Germans have done nothing, but they've tried daily to do something, and now they're moving away again. Paffrath, another man who missed the breakaway, as did all of the Bicycle Superstore team on that opening stage of the race. That's why there's no reaction, and the main field, in sunshine at last, are beginning to let Paffrath have his head, I think.
Notice Paffrath there riding a huge gear to get away on that hill. A lot bigger than the guys back in the field.
A little chase group forming here. That's Henk Vogel's the last to reach them. David McKenzie, number 21, is here in this group. So too is Scott McDonnell in that orangey-yellow jersey. And this is Paffrath at the front. They're closing in on him.
Yeah, he's doing a very strong ride here. But it looks like he's slowing a bit. He's feeling the miles, I think.
Well, we're running around the edge of Arona's Sands here, heading towards Craddock, and the gap was up to 5 minutes on the main field, with that chase group working the way very steadily towards Paffrath. It's only a matter of time before they do get up to him, and I think, judging by the way he's riding, he wouldn't be too unhappy with that. Now, look at this, Phil. 6.5 kilometres now of unsurfaced road. That really is a shame.
This is very unexpected. It's a shame because, you know, if you're up there in general classification, you wouldn't want to lose time due to a mechanical fault or a puncture like this.
Well, we've just seen Paffrath go through, and that's the sort of gap he now holds over this chase group, which contains some very strong riders here, including Henk Vogels, Damien Foster, and indeed David McKenzie. And a puncture to Robbie McEwen, who's checking his watch. I think he's checking the mechanics, just how long it takes to change the wheel. Well, I reckon that was about 10 seconds. That's not bad.
It wasn't too bad at all. And there's Henk Vogels. He's always puncturing.
Can you believe it?
He has to be... He'd have to be the most unlucky rider here, I think. He missed that break on the first day due to a mechanical, and here he is again.
Well, every day, and it's his dad this time who's taking over, Henk Vogel Sr., giving his son a new back wheel. He'll be back in the group very quickly. It looked like a pretty hot change. They're off the bad roads, and they're working their way around to their final destiny, high up in the mountains at Mount Wellington. And the man on the foothills approaching Mount Wellington is Brett Dennis. And surprisingly for me, it was David McKenzie directly behind him.
Very surprising. He's been riding a very aggressive race, but he wasn't that break, and that was the crucial point of the day.
Now, McKenzie has gone here as we start the climb of Mount Wellington, but the reason he snapped a spoke and fell back, he's had a wheel change, and he is climbing very smoothly indeed.
He is. He's looking very strong the way he's climbing right now, pushing a small gear, not panicking about being dropped behind there.
That's Hodge. Now, Stephen Hodge was trapped in the main field. They were some minutes behind at the start of the climb. Patrick Jonker is on the front. No reaction, and Hodge has gone. Now, Hodge is the best of those in high contention. The men who are ahead on the road, like these two, lost too much time on that opening stage. Hodge knows it. If he can finish best of the rest of the day, Phil, he's won the Tour.
He has. It's like a race within two races here. You've got the guys going for the stage win, and then behind you've got these two here going for overall.
So Jonker leading the chase. The Tasman Devil is on the right there, but the big news on the road is McKenzie has left the mountain climber Brett Dennis for dead. Dennis, a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. This is a superb piece of cycling by David McKenzie.
Yeah, McKenzie was behind there when he had that slight mechanical problem and caught up to Brett Dennis and went straight past him.
Stephen Hodge in the pursuit for the lower places, but everybody around him that matters as far as he's concerned. Now into the mist of Mount Wellington. It is very, very cold, but warm in the heart for David Mackenzie. That's one of his best wins ever, I'm sure of that. And Stephen Hodge knows now he'll win this Tour tomorrow in Hobart.
I did what I had to do, and that was drop the second and third place riders. But the New Zealander Glenn Mitchell, he was a real tough nut to crack. You know, I think I've got Patrick Yonker to thank a bit. He was obviously, he'd wanted to win the stage today, so he was driving really hard, and that, you know, that helped me a lot. But you know, we got rid of Glenn Mitchell about 3 k's from the top of the climb. I mean, it was just an incredibly long, hard climb, and thankfully he cracked before I did.
I relieved Stephen Hodge, but the stage being won by David Mackenzie ahead of Brett Dennis and the Kiwi Scott McDonnell. Overall, there were changes. Hodge kept his lead by 61 seconds. Mitchell up to second. Chris Denham up to third.
The winning move came today when Paffrath was caught by this group. And when that group of 7 got together, started riding, it was at the base of Mount Wellington where the moves came.
The climber of the group without doubt was Brett Dennis, and everybody would expect Dennis to make his move near the end, and he did just that. But I think what surprised Dennis was the fact that he was chased down by David Mackenzie. Mackenzie got to him on the climb of Mount Wellington, and then surprisingly, it was Brett Dennis who was in all kinds of trouble. As a result, David Mackenzie rode away to a clear win.
And I thought my only chance to wear Brett down was to try and crack him mentally and just to set a really hard pace and get into a rhythm. And I tried it, and yeah, and I cracked him, and you know, that was my plan, and I did it. So because I know Brett's a very good climber on his day, and I knew today I couldn't let him stay there, get a smell of the finish, because if he did, he might have beaten me.
Next up, the big finish in Hobart. We'll take a break.